on the ones that, what am I saying? I don't really know, but I'm gonna say that again. Let's do this. Let's do this. Hi guys, this is Kat, back again with yet another video. If you're new to this channel, welcome. If you're coming back for the 50th time, because I believe this is my 50th video, thank you so much for your support. We have talked a lot about red flags, especially when it comes to relationships and dating. And there's been less said about green flags. There are green flags we somehow get to ignore, especially during dating and during the relationship times, that should actually be appreciated. In today's video, I am going to just briefly be discussing 12 green flags. Some of them will be very evident during the dating time when you're going out on dates with people. There are things you'll be able to pick out and you'd be able to tell, this is the person I want to be with. So, without further ado, I'm going to get right into it. Before I do so, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do not forget to do so. You're gonna see me looking down for a bit. I'm not switching focus. We're just right on track, just that I have to refer to the notes I made earlier. So the first green flag is being around that person feels natural. You feel calm, you feel warm, you're peaceful and comfortable. You are free to express yourself. Sometimes when you go out on dates, you'll be able to pick out people that you probably even have a difficulty carrying a conversation with, carrying forward a conversation. So a lot of the times you feel tense. You're not sure whether you should make a statement or whether you should refrain from saying it altogether. So, but there are other people that you meet, and from the get-go, from the high, the space is comfortable. It allows for you to just be and tell your story and share with one another. That's one of the green flags. Once you meet those kind of people, and trust me, they're rare, but they are there, that should be one thing you should look out for. That's something you shouldn't ignore, because trust me, I think also I'm an energy person. I'm very picky with the energy I surround myself with. So a lot of the times, the first 5 to 10 minutes of hanging out with somebody or people, I'd be able to pick out elements or identities or individuals who I feel I would comfortably meet a second time and carry a conversation forward. Point number 2 is this person supports your ambitions. They genuinely celebrate your wins. That means they take an interest in your interests. You need to have somebody in your life who actually takes an interest to the things you like. And it shouldn't be only one way. You should also be that person who would like to help cultivate your partner's interests, support them to do whatever it is that they'd like to do or to pursue. If it's education, if it's a different career, if it's business, I mean, you should be the person who encourages them, who helps them carry through with their plans or their goals and objectives. And that's a strong plus as well. And I was making my notes and I just said supports your ambitions and celebrates your wins. But let's remember, guys, even in friendship, we have friends who celebrate our wins, right? But then do they genuinely celebrate you, or do they just do it for the sake of it? Next, they actively listen to you. It's very important when you can actually listen. There is a quote I saw a while back that says, some people just listen to reply. If you see that these are people who, this is a person who's half the time on their phone scrolling, I mean, that's not an active listener. How do you tell someone is actively listening to you? You're discussing about yourselves to one another. And probably this goes on for like 5 to 6 minutes. I'm giving an estimate. And then this person will possibly ask a question that stems from something you probably discussed 3 minutes prior. That means this is somebody who's been actively listening to the conversation you've all been having. Then I'll go to openness and honesty. We have a lot of open people, but they're not honest. We have a lot of honest people, but they're not open. When you meet somebody and they're not very conversational, it could be that they might be introverts, for example. And I'm not saying all of them are, but there are other individuals that just do not open up. So in this case, you find yourself out on a date with somebody, but you're probably doing all the talking. It could either point to the fact that you talk too much and the other person talks less. But at the same time, if somebody seems to be holding off information, holding off from sharing information about them with you, you would tell. Equally, when people are not being honest, especially when you're discussing something and you've given your input and it's time for them to give theirs, or you ask a question, sometimes you can tell when someone's not being honest. They'll not look at you in the eye. These are some of the pointers. Sometimes they'll be doing things with their feet if they're not nervous. You need to be in a position to establish whether the person you're going out on a date with, or you're dating, or you're in a relationship with, is open to communicating and just putting everything on the table and discussing it, and if they are honest about it. The next point is this should be somebody who takes responsibility and apologizes when they are wrong. During the course of that relationship, there will be fallouts. That's normal. It's how we deal with the fallouts that's most important. But then ultimately, if that person is willing to take responsibility over what has happened, and ultimately apologize for it, means they realize what the wrong done was, and and that it's not going to happen again. If that relationship matters to you, if that person matters to you, then the sorry is equally as important. You need to learn from your mistakes and do your best to ensure that they do not happen again. These are lessons we learn continually in relationships. At one point or another, there's going to be a clash. There's going to be shoulders brushing the wrong way, and we need to be able to apologize to one another. The next one is a willingness to work on individual flaws. It is also important to constantly evaluate what's going well, what's not going well, what can we do better. In the long haul, it really does help the relationship grow. If you're working on what needs to work on, either collectively or as individuals, you can sit as a couple and say, babe, I didn't like the way you did ABCD. I didn't like your reaction to this statement that I made. And then correct things. When you let fights sit through nights and days and weeks, it becomes even more difficult. And during that time, it also creates a lot of hurt between the partners. So we need to just be in a constant state, even in the relationship, of evaluating what's going well, commend it, what's not going well, and what can we do about it moving forward. Yeah. Next one is, and this mostly applies to when you're going out on dates, and I know a lot of you are going out on those dates. All the best, by the way. When you go out to a restaurant, this is where you get to observe quite a number of things. Is this person kind to the waiter? Someone who's nice with others, our service people. If you go to a hotel, the attendant, the lady doing the cleaning of the rooms, if you're able to just easily be nice to these people that serve us in those different capacities, you'd know that that's a nice person. It's a valuable insight into someone's character, the way they treat others. One of my friends has been single for a long time, not really a long time. I would say long time is just about 2 years. And very recently, she texted me and told me that she started dating. And I was so excited for her because, trust me, guys, whether we like it or not, love is a beautiful thing. A lot of you out there, I'm not going to mention you by your names, but you're going out on dates, and that's a really cool thing. And I wish you guys the best. Obviously, the dating world is not as easy. You have to kiss a number of frogs before you get to the one. Yeah, so whatever you need to get to arrive to that destination where you find this person who's got these green flags, then I mean, cheers. It's something to celebrate. The next one is effective communication. Lay everything bare on the table and just discuss with one another. And especially in relationships, you need to be in relationships with people that you can carry conversation continually with. You can communicate about anything and everything. Communicating is a lot of things. It's the tone you use, it's the how how do you deliver a message. For example, if your partner made a statement while you're out at a party, that a statement you didn't like, how would you address that? What tone would you use to communicate that to them without making them feel worse than they already do, especially if they realize they made a mistake? The other green flag is you enjoy each other's company, and you can talk for hours and it feels like minutes. Trust me, this is the best thing. It's an intimation that you actually do have chemistry with one another. Also means you guys have a lot to talk about, and that's a good thing. You could be talking about eggs and soda or whatever, but you could, I mean, it goes both ways. It depends. I mean, because at the end of the day, also, it's good to have some fun while dating. I'm a late night person, so we enjoy a lot of the time sitting and we'll just tuka and then find it's like 5 in the morning. Yeah. And now we don't know whether we should go to sleep or if we should just shower and go to work. I would be scared if I met somebody that I wouldn't be able to do that with. I feel safe in your space, you feel safe in my space, and I mean, this just so much to share. We're having a lot of fun conversationally. You should be able to enjoy time around and with one another, with whatever it is that you might be discussing. The next is you allow yourself to be vulnerable. To be vulnerable is sharing intimate details about maybe things in the past that have hurt them. They feel safe and comfortable around you, and they feel like they can open up and they can be vulnerable with you. That's a green flag. What's your breaking point? If you deal with somebody who, in the moment they break, regardless of whether you're there or not, to me, that's a green flag. They are not distracted by their phone. They give you undivided attention and are fully engaged during that period. There are times when you might get the emergency calls that you have to answer. Obviously, you'd excuse yourself, either step aside and come back, especially if you're out on a date, or if you're comfortable around this person, you can also pick up your phone and speak there. But ultimately, mannerisms, excuse yourself. When you're having a conversation, it's good to always detach from the internet and just make time to be with your partner. Then the last one is you can both be silent around each other and still feel good and comfortable. To me, this is what I called comfortable silences. Guys, it's very difficult to find somebody who's able to enjoy comfortable silences with you. It's being within the same space with your partner, not having a conversation, but then you haven't fought. You guys are good. Maybe your partner is on the phone or just reading something and the other person is watching TV or probably just doing other things, but you're essentially in the same room and you're comfortable and happy with one another, being in each other's space, not necessarily doing something similar, but enjoying that silence. Even if you're just sitting there and doing nothing, just getting to enjoy time together without much conversation. Once Once you meet somebody who understands comfortable silences, for me, it's comfortable silences. And it's the open tabs in my head. Like, we have so many tabs. I think I'd read somewhere that the average human brain processes about 15,000 thoughts a day. So imagine, do the math and divide that by the number of hours in a day and just have an estimate of roughly how many thoughts you're processing any given hour. A lot of people may not understand when you say, I have 90 open tabs. Like, I have 90 different thoughts I'm thinking about right now. I might be able to list some of them, some I might not be able to list, but I know I have this tiny thought about something at the back of my head. For me, when I got to meet somebody that was able to understand the concept of open tabs, I think I was sold. And of course, a lot of other things, similar things that happened, and you'd be able to tell, oh, hey, I'm on the right track. I'm doing the right thing, and I'm going to go for this. Guys, I hope as you go out on your dates or as you continue dating your partners or your girlfriends or your boyfriends, you identify and you can relate to some of those points that I actually spoke about. Don't forget to like this video, and as always, if you're not subscribed to this channel, please do not forget to do so. Thank you so much for staying on with me. What do you look out for in a partner? What are some of the two strong green flags for you? When you go out on a date, what do you expect to see in that other person that leaves you feeling like this is someone I would want to go ahead and date? Let me know what those things, those green flags are down below. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you all a wonderful end of the week and a happy weekend. Bye.
I gave you my heart.